How I became a biostatistician and a research associate professor is because of some excellent mentoring and support from people throughout my life. I was a math major and I was struggling with what the heck could I do with math? Also, I'm like one of the first generation getting a college degree. My grandparents were immigrants from Italy. So the thought of even getting, a bachelor's degree was kind of pretty wild. I became attracted to mathematics and then particularly statistics, I guess because it made sense. One of the things, at least in the beginning, before you get too deep into things, it seems like there were right and wrong answers in math. And I also love the theory of it. It's kind of like, playing games, trying to understand patterns. So that was really fun. But I think what turned me on to statistics is that I could see how it was solving problems. And I became a biostatistician, so when I went to do graduate work, it was in biostatistics, which is more statistics applied to the biological field, medicine, public health, psychology, those types of fields. The degree that I received from Miami was absolutely critical in going on to graduate school. So you need to build foundations in terms of the academic material. But I think that actually, perhaps even more than the actual degree and what I learned in the classroom is what I learned out of the classroom. The friendships, how to deal with people, meeting people that are coming from different types of backgrounds, different religions, different ways of viewing the world. That I think is really part of what a college education should be. One of the things that I think that is really important, now that I have children who are going to college, one of the things that I look for, are they going to be taught by a professor, or are they going to be taught by a graduate student? And I was a graduate student once, so being taught by a graduate student is not the end of the world. But I think one of the things at Miami is that I was a freshman and I had dinner with professors. Professors knew me by my first name. I felt comfortable stopping into office hours because I felt I was just not a cog in a machine. I was a person as a freshman. I think that's a really unique type of experience, and I think that is really fundamental and foundational. A liberal arts background, I think, is absolutely critical. So I was taking an honors English class, and I was a freshman at Dorsey, and my English class was at bachelor's. And the professor was kind of a difficult, unusual type of guy. But one of the things that he really valued was thinking critically. It was Thoreau's Walden Pond, and we had to write a paper. I got an A on that paper, and what he said is that he disagreed pretty completely with what I wrote, but what I wrote was I was able to support it with what was written, and so the thinking was right. I ran across from bachelor to Dorsey, and I called my mother to tell her that I got an A in class, and the reason was because some professor appreciated critical thinking, even if it was in opposition with what he thought. Very, very valuable lesson to me. The ratio of professor to student is still really, really important. And again, helping to develop those relationships and the ability to be mentored by professors is really important, and I think that makes Miami a very special place.